Hi, welcome to Aspects of Energy. I'm Elaine Brewster, and we are going to have fun today. We know that we are living in precarious times where anything from natural disasters to ill-meaning people to little teeny tiny entities can disrupt our lives for months or longer. Here's a picture of an earthquake in Kobe, Japan. It disrupted their municipal water for 8 months. They didn't have water.
Elaine, we didn't see it.
Oh, didn't you hear?
Thank you.
Showing it. Not doing the screenshot, just showing it. In Hurricane Katrina, 80% of the city was submerged. And in my town in Vermont, where I lived in Vermont for a while, just like Katrina, they had water that was up to 9 feet. It destroyed everything, and it took weeks and weeks for the water to recede. This last year, we've had fires in California, blizzards in New York, tornadoes in North Carolina, and just this month, there was an earthquake in Quebec. Now, I live in a state where it is not if there will ever be an earthquake, but when. The main communities in our state go north to south, and they're all on a fault line. And so the state has a yearly earthquake training called the Great Utah Shakeout. They just had that on April 15th. In addition, I belong to a church that has encouraged food storage for as long as I've been alive. And of course, this year, besides food, we've seen our share of grocery store shelves stripped of all paper goods and water bottles. Wasn't that amazing to go to huge stores and see nothing on the shelves? So today I'm going to share with you a few things about emergency preparedness that I've learned and that I actually do. Now, it will not be comprehensive. I want to share some unique ideas, so I hope you'll have a pen and paper handy. Send me ideas later on brewstersinger@me, that's me.com, or just write down your own ideas. Now, here's my disclaimer. On this program, Aspects of Energy, I usually feature principles and not products, but today I've gone all Vanna White, and I will be telling you product names, because if we're going to prepare ahead of time, we have to have bought things and have them in our house to have them ready. So, are you ready to go? Number one, I've got 5 areas. Store what you use. So that would be the kind of shampoo, toothpaste, dish cleaner, all those kind of things that we need. Store what you use. It's interesting, when Lucille Ball died, they found a large barrel full of her hair dye. She wanted enough hair dye to last her until she died, because that was her trademark, that particular color. And so that was meaningful to her. Now, this came from a California emergency specialist. She was actually going through a wellness tour, a tour of my home called a wellness home tour. And she told me to put water in every room. She said, when there's a disaster, you never know where you're going to be in your house when it hits. And so I have water squirreled away in the corners of most of my rooms. Here's something else that she said. She said, keep a robe in your bathroom, so that, because I mean, if I get stuck in an earthquake in my bathroom, I want to be warm. I don't want to just be there with nothing. So this is a dedicated robe. I never wear it. It just sits there. Also, have a dedicated pair of slippers under your bed. I never use these slippers. They stay under my bed. Do you know why? Because if there's an earthquake or something else like that, you're going to have broken glass, broken vases. And if you've got slippers, then you can walk. Now, this came from an emergency specialist who has been all over the world. he said, yes, there's broken glass and there's broken windows. So what do people do, especially in the wintertime, if there are broken windows? We're all going to cover them with cardboard or plywood, right? We think we had the answer. And he said, now you've cut out your light. And he said, quote, people are driven by light. So this is what he said to do. Go to your Home Depot or whatever and get plastic drop cloth that you use for painting. And then you either put it up with duct tape or with a staple gun. And if you feel like it's not enough, like it's winter, you could put up 2 or even 3 layers on windows. And so you'll still get some light in. And I would suggest maybe having a dedicated pair of scissors, because you're going to need that. And so again, you can see this isn't open. I went out the next day after that man said it, and I bought plastic wrap. So number 2 area, let's say you have to evacuate. Number 1, have an assigned meeting place for everyone in your family. Ours is at the neighbor's mailbox. Also, with your extended family, a lot of us are older and we've got children and grandchildren. And our family hasn't talked about this recently, but have some main repository where everyone is going to try and call that one person. The airways will be clogged. Those are things we need to think about ahead of time. It'll be crazy busy. It'll be too late by then. There are companies like Emergency Essentials where you can buy, and this is in a backpack, you can buy a 72-hour kit. They figure that if you have to evacuate, you probably, like if you have to go to a huge building or a church building or, you know, some civic building, you probably won't be gone more than 72 hours. I won't go over the things that are in the 72-hour kit. You can look at that online, but that stays by my front door. One of the things that would be in there is water, but I do have to tell you, I would also be taking this. This is called PiMag. Maybe you can see it there. PiMag water from Nikken, N-I-K-K-E-N. Nikken is a Japanese-based company, and this has a special water filter in it. I won't get into it right now, but it's very, very specialized. And you could look up more on selfcarehub.com. And Dr. Gary Lindner, who's a physiologist, can tell a lot about the Nikken water bottle. This would get rid of a lot of problems that are out there. It's designed for municipal water, but it exceeds all the standards for filtration. Has nanofiber filtration that was developed by NASA. It's a really amazing system. So I would keep that for myself. Now here's an interesting idea. A man said his big thing was to take his box of all his financial folders, just a banker's box. He keeps it by his front door. This is what he would take. This is meaningful to him. And, you know, so that's a great idea. All right, now suppose we're out of our house and we need more heating. This is what I would take. This is, again, from that company, Nikken. I'll show you here how it's spelled. Can you see that? N-I-K-K-E-N. Japanese company, Nikken.com. This comforter is a very special comforter, again, developed by NASA. It has ceramic reflective fibers. And so if you're too hot, it wicks it away and cools you. If you need more heat, it keeps it in. In fact, I've actually used this out at a football game, just one thin layer. And everybody else in their great big heavy coats, they were standing on the sideline, you know, and they're going, yeah, go team, you know, and they're rubbing themselves, trying to stay warm. And me in this thin little layer, this is what I looked like. I just stood there because I was warm. It took all of maybe 30 seconds for me to feel the warmth as I kind of held it against my shoulders to come into my shoulders. The one that I was using went down to my calves. And so from my neck to my calves, I was all warm. This is an amazing, amazing thing. It also cuts out acidity. And so if someone is hurt and going into shock, this is very, very useful for that also. Another thing that I would take if I have to evacuate is I would take Nikken socks, which are made out of that special fiber. This special fiber, by the way, from the comforter, it's energy from the sun. That's what the reflective rays are. And it's energy that we have in us that then reflects back to us. And so these socks are way soft, and they also wick away moisture. In fact, there was a man who hiked up a major mountain. I can't remember which one, but it was a major mountain. And so he had this routine. He had 4 pairs of socks, and about halfway up, he would change up at the top, look around, I made it, isn't it wonderful? And then he'd change socks. And then he'd usually about half of the way down, he'd change again. Well, one year he decided to use the Nikken socks, and he got halfway up and he went, well, they're comfortable and they're not wet. So he left them. He got up to the top and he tried again, and he went, they're comfortable and they're not wet. So he wore 1 pair of socks all the way up and down. That, you know, is just phenomenal. And then some other choices are some wraps. These wraps, this one is for a knee wrap. It's the same material as the comforter, but it has elastic in it. And so if I were walking, I would need something to help to protect me, to be able to, it gives me extra energy. It takes that energy from the sun and then it throws it into my body. This is actually an ankle wrap. You can see there's a little hole in there for the ankle, but some people use it as a wrist wrap because it's nice and long there. But there was a man who was in our neighborhood, and he was helping his daughter move, and he just kept going like this, and his arm was really, really hurting him. So I ran home and I got this, and he put it on his arm, and it helped him so that he could finish helping his daughter move. So, you know, this is really wonderful. Okay, so now let's say we're confined to our house. This is what I do for food. I bought freeze-dry food. And again, I bought it through Emergency Essentials. They will ship to anywhere. Freeze-dried food is freeze-dried for 25 years. And at my age, I figure I'm either going to need it or I'll be dead. So I win. Either way, I'm good. And it's fun to have that on hand. All right, do you want fresh food? Well, one good thing would be to grow sprouts. But again, we need to do that because we want to do it now on a regular basis. We can't wait until the last minute and go, oh, I'm stuck here in my house and it's January and I need to grow sprouts. We won't know how to do it. So we want to learn that now. What if we want fresh food and we just, you know, we're happy with our freeze dried, but we would love fresh food. And maybe the sprouts haven't sprouted yet. Well, here are 2 ideas. And again, this is through the company Nikken. Jade green zymes and Super Siaga, vegetables, fruits. A man named Hagiwara spent 40 years of his life discovering the vegetable that had the highest nutrients, and he came up with young barley grass. And that's what this is. It just, oh, I won't open it. It smells so wonderful. It's so fresh. And you actually could live on just this and water. Many people actually use this and water for like a 10-day fast when they want to lose weight or get rid of cancer or something. Super Siaga is high in antioxidants. It's off the chart, that ORAC chart that tells how the antioxidants are, how powerful they are. This is full of just so many berries. You know, it's more than just take a handful of blueberries or a handful of blackberries or a little dip of acai. This is, you know, like everything all combined. And so, you know, those two things would be really wonderful. There's another company called It Works, IT Works, and they also have a little. It alkalizes, balances, and detoxifies. Oh, this is a berry. I was thinking it was green. I think they have a green one too. And I'm sure that there are other companies that you can find. Oh, sorry, back on evacuating, I was going to show you. This is a really cool thing. Can you see that? Let's see, there we go. This handle you can buy through, well, you used to anyway, through Emergency Essentials. And it's so cool because it just fits around your liter bottles. And then you can take them for us older people or for us women. If you've got water that's in a 5-gallon container, do you know how much that weighs? That weighs 40 pounds. I can't carry that. But this I could carry on my shoulders or around my neck. Stuck at home and want some energy. Darn, we can't get our Red Bull. It's just not available. Well, here's something that is. It's called 10-4 by Nikken. It is a matcha drink, a matcha tea drink. And it's designed, it's called that because lots of times people get tired at 10 in the morning or maybe around 4 in the afternoon. And so this is a safe, natural pick-me-up. Another pick-me-up, and this it might be crazy to some people, are magnetic insoles. So it turns out that we are magnetic beings. We live on a magnetic earth. I know we weren't taught that when we were young, but it turns out that magnetism holds everything together. And we're this grouping of electrons and protons and neutrons, and they're all running around. And it's magnetism that is one of the things that holds it together. Nowadays, we're magnetic short. We're full in our society of asphalt and concrete and steel and even rubber shoes that keep us away from the energies of the earth. So when we have these, they're just insoles, you can use them anywhere. When you put these in your shoes, then it gives you more of what the earth is trying to give us, but we're removed from it. And some people actually, they'll stick this in their back to help their back. Some people would put it here for breathing. Some people, girls will put it down here for that time of month. I had a daughter who had a horrible headache because she was pregnant and dehydrated. And so I just actually held one there, and then I held one back here at the base of her neck, and I just held them there, and her headache went away. So that's some fun stuff. Okay. Here's something really, really major. Can you see that white unit back there? Right there. That's an air purifier. No, I usually don't have it on my counter. I just have it there so you can see it. The air purifier is really, really wonderful. It is a HEPA air purifier, which means it is the same. It does the same thing that you would find in a kidney dialysis room. And kidney dialysis is, as far as I've heard, the finest air filtering that there is. This filter filters to 99.97% of anything that is 0.3 microns or less. And I believe a human hair is typically about 40 microns. So imagine how small 0.3 is. It's getting rid of everything in your air. Last summer, we had these California fires, and it was crazy because you could smell it outside in Utah. You could smell it. And if you're smelling it, that means those particulates are going into you and your lungs are doing the filtering. When you came into my house, the house was fresh smelling. It never smelled like fire. That means that was doing the filtering for me instead of my lungs. It's a really, really wonderful unit. It also gives off something called negative ions. And negative ions, I'll tell you maybe more about in a second, but they live on the top of the grass. They're what you feel by a waterfall when you say, oh, isn't this wonderful? It's the feeling that you have after a rainstorm when you just want to breathe so deeply because it's wonderful. They give that off. And I have a friend in Florida named Linda, and she turns hers on high. And when she has one client especially that comes into her house for work, he walks in and he just stands there and he says, oh, I feel like I'm at the beach. So it's a really wonderful, wonderful thing to have. Does need to be plugged in, runs on electricity. And so my son was saying, that's one thing that we might want to have that I don't yet, is an extra battery that can charge your phone, charge other things that are in your house. All right, so here's something that does not require electricity. And that is, can you see it? And that is the Nikken water unit. I'll just stick it right there. And so, this is a gravity-fed unit. You just pour water in the top, pour, and then it goes down through the specialized filter that does more things than any other water. I'll tell people, I've been studying water for 20 years, and maybe this isn't the best system around, but I've never found one that beats it. This water does everything that you want water to do. It does more than just clean it, meaning filter it. It declusters it, which makes it small enough that it goes easily into us. It energizes it. If you saw a picture of the water, it would actually have aura, sparkly lines coming out of it. It's a really, really wonderful water. Good for 45 liters a day. I mean, do you use 45 liters a day? I don't. And, so if there's only one or two of you in your home, it's probably going to be longer than you're going to need a filter. I have a Canadian friend, Mike, and he has at least 3 of these in his house because he said, then I can be of help to my neighbors. I thought that was really cool that he's thinking of it. Okay, we're stuck at home and we want, can you see me, by the way, people? Are you? Okay, because I've got another picture that's on my screen, but I'm hoping that I'm the one that we're seeing and not just up at the top there. Maybe if
we can see you.
You're fine.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess that's just what I can see. All right, thank you. Okay, so we want to be warm. We're at home. This is such a cool thing. This is a grounding pad. Now, it has this really, really long cord, but here's what it looks like. Can you see that? It's not electrical. It's just one little round unit. So you know that in our modern plugs, our modern outlets, there's a hot and a cold, a north and a south, and then there's a round. Well, this just goes into the round part. It's not electrical. It just goes into the grounding. Now, have you seen anybody walk barefoot outside on the grass, you know, or people hugging trees and you're going, oh my gosh, that is so fanatical. It's not. There's nutrients right out there for free on the grass. And what they are is negative ions. And the lightning brings them down, throws them into the grass, into the beach. You know, that's what you feel by waterfall. The water, as it churns it up, it puts these out. Well, we've got inside us, we have free radicals. Free radicals are things that cause aging and browning. So when you cut a banana, when you cut an apple, when you cut an avocado, and it starts turning brown, you know, we consider that bad. That causes aging in us. It also causes people to be really distracted and really agitated. So when you have to put something bare, put your bare feet or your bare hands or, you know, your bare arm or whatever on this. When you do, then the nutrients that come from the grass, these negative ions, they attach, they bind to the bad things, and so they neutralize them. So this is anti-inflammatory, and it also, the feeling of it is one of comfort, because when you're balanced, isn't that what you feel? Is content, right? And so this is a really, really wonderful thing. I was going to say one more thing about it, maybe I'll remember. If I need warmth, obviously, I would use that comforter also. All right, number 4. Here's something I just learned yesterday. One of the main emergency things that adults and especially senior adults need is flexibility. For some reason, in emergencies, we're reaching up high, we're stepping over things, we're doing things that our body normally doesn't do. And again, this came from an emergency specialist. So here are a couple of ways to be more flexible. And this is going to look weird, probably. This comes from the company Nikken. This crazy looking thing is we call it a back magnet. Again, it's something you could put here for help you with breathing, here for that time of month. But a lot of people just stick it in their back, and it helps create more flexibility. When magnetism is present, you know, if you had a bunch of iron filings on a piece of paper, and then you took a magnet, like a horseshoe magnet underneath it, what would the iron filings do? Wherever the magnet was, they'd all stand up like little soldiers, right? Magnetism helps align things. There are about 7 theories as to why magnetism helps in the body. But one thing it does is it aligns things and gets things going. I can tell you personal experience. I had to go outside and pickaxe some hollyhocks. I wanted them gone. This is not an activity that I normally do. That was very strenuous activity, and I was out there for an hour, but I had this on my back, and so it was creating more flexibility for me. I put the pickaxe inside, I came in home, took it off, threw it on the counter, and I was done. I was good. It didn't hurt at all. The next year, a few of the hollyhocks came back, and I knew that I wouldn't be out there so long, so I didn't put it on. I was only out there for a half hour, and it took me 3 days to recover. So this really, really helps for flexibility. Here's something else. These are little rolling balls. They're dark, so they're a little hard to see, but they're balls that roll. They're called a Mag Duo. Talk about flexibility. On a baseball team, most of the people in an American baseball team are pitchers because there's only 1 or 2 pitchers that are out there actually working. The rest of them have hurt their arm and they're back being fixed. This is not the case in Japanese baseball teams. They have fewer pitchers percentage-wise on their teams because they use things like this and they just sit and they rub in between innings. And so they keep things going in their body and it doesn't seize up. This is actually what brought us to this company, Nikken. My husband had a muscle twitch, went off every 6 seconds. He developed it in graduate school because it was so nerve-wracking. And nothing in Western medicine could help, but we rubbed these on his shoulder for, gosh, no more than 90 seconds, about 60. And I watched that shoulder for 24 hours. It fired off 3 times instead of every 6 seconds. So these are just huge for, just for helping with flexibility. This is a little magnet. Maybe you can see the little dots on there, a whole bunch of little magnets. I noticed that Hattie Jane actually had one attached to a necklace that she had hanging, maybe for breathing, because this time of year is a hard time of year for her. A little magnet like this you can put in different spots that hurt, and then that helps to release. Necklace helps for breathing and it also helps for flexibility. Here's another necklace that is kind of a sportier version. There's a sporty version of a bracelet that just helps things to keep moving. Here's another company, Juva, Juuva, and they also have things with negative ions and with magnets that also, help things to work. Let me show you one more thing. This guy is called a mag creator. The dots here are magnets, and it's designed to go on either side of your spine. And so I usually do this just a little bit first thing in the morning. It's funner when someone else does it, but it's nice that it's a long enough, handle that you can do it yourself. Some people do it on a wall and then they can do the middle of their back. Anyway, that's just a super thing that feels good. Okay. And I'll just show you that too. This is a back wrap to put around, and it has a pocket in there, so you can take the mag flex, and it just makes it really easy to. Okay, so there are going to be injuries. There really will. So one of the things that is really wonderful is the blanket. Again, I keep mentioning it, don't I? Because it's my favorite. This is a Nikken. It's called a cocoon, but really it's a sleeping bag. And it has all 3 technologies. It has magnetic technology. It has far infrared, which is this ceramic reflective fibers that reflect the sun. And then it has this negative ion that the grounding pad has, so the grass. So it has 3 kinds of technologies because they're all helpful for us people. And it's just the most wonderful thing. When people go into shock, one of the things they need is water. So any kind of water, but especially the Nikken is more absorbable. And then they need warmth. So the cocoon is just incredible. One friend of mine kept her cocoon in her car. She was a teacher and with junior high, it was really stressful. And so she would come out during lunchtime and she would just kind of lay it over her eat her lunch, just relax. And it relaxed her so much that then she was able to go back and have a wonderful afternoon. For spasms and hurts, this guy is called a Kenko Touch. And this is a magnetic pulsed massage. So when I don't know if you can see this, maybe you can see the light reflecting off it. It's got different speeds. You can see, maybe you can see my hand moving. Oh, you know what you could probably see? You could probably see a piece of paper moving. There you go. So this is amazing for spasms, for hurts, for Charlie horses, but for major hurts. Okay, here's something else. We're almost done. You've seen kinetic tape. It was created in Japan, like a lot of these things that I have on my counter. You've seen it wrap shoulders or wrap knees, probably. Well, this is the Nikken kinetic tape. It's called duck, meaning dynamic underlayer kinetic. It's just kind of a cute little joke. And you cut off however much you need. I have some on my knees and some on my ankle right now. But this is different than the tape you'll buy at the store. This has a substrate of the negative ion that is, that is your energy of your grass. And it also has the quilt, the energy of the sun in it. And so when it goes on a body part, it just simply does more than regular tape. It does more than you would think that it should do. Plus there's, wow. Plus there's a Dr. Bill Higgins, a chiropractor, and he found that you can take this tape, take pieces of it, and tape it on your skin where different organs are underneath, and the energy will go into the organs. So there are going to be people, you or people in your life, that are going to have fallen down or have other bad situations. And so this gives you something that you can do. Two more things. Burns. There we go. This material, besides cutting acidity and warming or cooling, it's also, well, warming or cooling, it's also really, really amazing and wonderful for burns. There was a young man, Kevin Hoff, in South Dakota maybe, and he was in a silo explosion and was taken to the hospital. And his wife took, I think, one of these knee wraps, and she cut it, and then she cut just a hole for his nose and maybe his eyes. And he said, as soon as that was placed over his face, he could feel the heat leaving. He was supposed to be in the hospital for 6 weeks with numerous grafts. He was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks and never had any skin grafts. They said, if you look at him now, you'll see a little bit of tightness at the side of his lip where you can see he was burned, but otherwise no. And this was a huge, huge burn from the silo. And another good thing that's for burns is water. Just, put it here in this PiMag water if there's any kind of a burn. And for scrapes and scratches and other things, there's this CM cream. And you might have a different kind of cream from another company that you like. This has cetyl myristoyate in it, which is a wonderful cream. I forgot one thing, so I'm going to go way, way back. When you've got your 72-hour kit, make sure that you have some kind of book. And if you've got children, have something in there. I mean, you can't do Play-Doh, that won't last for forever. Bubbles probably would. But think of the people that are around you. For me, boredom would be a big deal. So I'd probably want a book with mine. Okay, well, I'm done. And I know I'm leaving you with tons of questions, which is good. So watch this again after it's posted, which will be in a couple of hours, and then write down your thoughts. And remember, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. There's a site, Provident Living, at churchofjesuschrist.org. And when you look on that at emergency preparedness, then look under worksheets. There are 11 really wonderful worksheets if you want someone else to have done the work for you and just, say, do this, do that, do this. Now, I was thinking your neighbors might like to feel more prepared, and it would be really fun to meet together in a neighborhood and find out resources and find needs of your neighbors. And it just might take you to spearhead it. So while you're talking to all those neighbors, remember to smile at them, because it will raise your energy and it will raise theirs. So talk to you later, and thank you so much for being here today. Bye.